Today we're going to be getting back into some jets for these YouTube videos, starting with the MiG-15. This is an 8.0 fighter in the Russian tech tree. This is not the MiG-15 BIS, as it does not have, I believe it, what is it, the hydraulically boosted flight controls, or there's some kind of, it doesn't have new boosters in its modifications. Alright, that and the fact that it has a considerably weaker engine, which is a pretty big deal as well. So those two things combined warrant it going to 8.0, whereas the MiG-15 BIS is 8.3. So it is absolutely true, objectively, that the MiG-15 is worse in the flight performance aspect of things than the MiG-15 BIS. However, being 8.0 gives you a much more favorable matchmaker in my experience, and overall makes it a lot more fun to play because of that. It's still very much a MiG-15, it's very similar to the MiG-15 BIS, and how you fly, what you can do, and what you're going to be doing against your opponents, many of which are going to be the same planes. It's just, it's a little bit worse at it, but as a trade-off, you get much better matchmaking, as I said. The 7.7, 7.3 games even sometimes do happen, and very often you're going to be in 8.0, and the highest, of course, being 9.0, makes it so that your competition is pretty much all aircraft that you can manage and you can fight against. Of course, there's plenty of aircraft that can just fly away from you, especially at the higher battle ratings. For example, the Sambad you've seen on screen here. He can just fly away all day long in a straight line. However, the second he does anything besides try to fly in straight lines, the MiG-15 is actually going to kind of whip his butt. So as I said, the MiG-15 flies very, very similar in how you actually do combat as the MiG-15 BIS. However, a lot of you probably don't have any of them if you're starting with the MiG-15. If you're going to fly the MiG-15, you very well may not have the BIS, is what I'm trying to say. And if you do have the BIS, maybe that's all you've ever played because you kind of just already grinded to it. That's what you wanted back when it was more of the thing, and you could play that instead of the MiG-15 and still have some pretty fun and reliable matches. Take this as an opportunity to maybe look at the MiG-15 at 8.0 and give it a try. For those of you who have never played it though, there's really three big things to think about, and the first one, I guess, since it's right on the screen, is the guns are kind of hard to aim. Just in general, they're low velocity guns, which makes it a little difficult sometimes, but mainly with the MiG-15 in particular, the reason it's hard to aim is because it's extremely sluggish, it's not very ergonomic, it's not exactly user friendly, it doesn't want to roll, even its rudder is pretty slow and limited in movement, but it's a necessity, you do need to learn the rudder. And that is the second thing, I guess, to really keep in mind with the MiG-15, is that rudder is so vitally important. You should learn how to use rudder in air combat and maneuvering, whatever it may be anyways, just in any airplane. But especially in the MiG-15, your rudder is going to save your life not only from dodging shots and making yourself a more difficult target to hit, but also just to keep yourself from crashing. If you're going high speeds and you're close to the ground and you're trying to roll and make a turn and change direction really sharply, the terrible flight controls of the MiG-15, like the ailerons here, you just can't roll well, especially at high speeds, and it's going to require some rudder input to actually flip yourself around in time in order to make that movement and not actually crashing to the ground. And you've probably seen me make quite a few movements by this point in the video where I am using the rudder to kick myself in a certain direction intentionally, either to not crash or to make myself more difficult to hit, because direction changes in the MiG-15 without rudder is extremely sluggish, extremely predictable, and you'll be a pretty easy target to hit if you're not using rudder. Like right here, for example, you see my rudder kind of going crazy as I kick myself around, do some negative G's and defensive flying, but that's just one example. As I said earlier, the Sambad has absolutely no chance against the MiG-15 if he decides to take it into anything but a straight line, and that's what he does. He gets a little confident, and we're able to just kind of get on this low speed stall fighting area. And the MiG-15, especially the MiG-15 BIS, is going to be beating everything in this kind of engagement where you're on low speed, you can get your landing flaps down. The maneuvering energy retention of the MiG-15s is incredible. The landing flaps, when they actually do get down, make it so that you can pull some good angle as well while you're doing these stall fights. The biggest problem is with this 8.0 MiG-15, again, you don't have the new boosters modification. All of your flight controls are extremely slow. I don't know if this applies to flaps or not, but in general, whether that's the reason or not, the 8.0 MiG-15 flaps come out even slower than the MiG-15 BIS's flaps. So getting to landing flaps is very often a must, especially in the low speed situations, or if maybe you're fighting something like a meteor, which you can turn with or better than many of the meteors, but you have to get your landing flaps out to do it. And a lot of that is also going to come down to just thrust to weight. You're going to have more thrust to weight than the meteors. Your landing flaps are going to give you the angle to keep on turning, and they're going to kind of just start falling out of the sky, and you're not. As far as pure angle and the tightest turn radius possible, most of the meteors do probably still have you beat. I will admit that, but in the sustained turn fighting, I think the MiG-15 is probably going to have the edge. And since it's on the screen, that reminds me, keep an eye out for F-86 A5s. Those are honestly more annoying to fight oftentimes than the F-86F. Just because they have those slats, they can pull a lot of angle and get some shots in. If you're not careful, you're going to be doing your signature MiG-15 spiral, trying to drain him of his energy, kind of turning while going vertical at the same time. Again, a spiral. Very popular and effective tactic in the MiG-15. But the A5 with its slats might be able to pull enough angle to get a couple 50 cal bursts in on you if you're not expecting it. So be very careful of that. It's going to outrun you at the top end speed anyways. Just like an F-86F, it just accelerates a little bit slower, but the top end is faster than you. So the main thing is just watch for that high angle of attack pull as he lines up a shot. And if you can get past that and get the A5 slow, then yes, absolutely, you're going to start running circles around him just like any other Sabre. The MiG-15s are both exceptional 1-versus-1 dogfighting airplanes. They have really great maneuvering energy retention. Like I said, they have really good thrust to weight, exceptional low speed acceleration. So if you do need to get away from somebody, drain them of their energy first, get them turning and turning and turning, and then get as far away from their nose as possible in angle, and then just put it in a straight line, and you will be able to out accelerate them considerably and get some distance again. You'll have time to reset, you'll have time to think and figure out what you're going to do before they start coming and catching up to you again at the high speeds. And because it's such a great dogfighter, it's even more powerful in the mid to late games. In these situations right here, sure, we have the numbers disadvantage, and the game could have very easily ended right here as this Alpha Jet pulls up for me. I really did not expect him to be able to pull in or even want to pull in to take a head on here. You could see I was way over leading his flight path, not expecting him to pull that sharp for that head on. Thankfully, I survived that, and now it's just a matter of really managing these two guys at the same time. Alright, now we just have to keep both of these guys in view and focused. Unfortunately, an F3H also comes in, and that is actually a very annoying plane to fight in the MiG-15. Sure, just like anything else, if you get the F3H on low speed, you can get him ultimately in the dogfight with the MiG-15, but he pulls a lot of angle, and he's extremely capable in straight lines. He's going to accelerate very quickly, he has more top speed than you, and while the F3H is not great for its own battle rating of 9.0, when it's fighting 8.0s, it's actually a pretty strong plane. You're going to beat it the same way I've been saying you beat everything else. Take it into some kind of spiral, dodge the initial shots as best you can. You have to get past that initial portion of the dogfight, and once you get them on low speeds, you start stalling them out, get your landing flaps down, keep on turning in the same direction, and eventually you'll just start coming around right behind him. Oh man. Thankfully for me, some problems just take care of themselves anyway, and the F3H crashes into my Alpha Jet, who I believe they just traded in a head-on but didn't actually shoot each other. I believe that's what happened. So the end of this game is just me strafing a guy on the runway, I think, and the other one ends up leaving, because why would I let them take off? And I also very skillfully and methodically dodge. Well, I stay out of sight of the SAM so that I can't die, and then wait for the perfect moment to attack the airfield. So the guy taking off gets jumped, and the guy that's still sitting there that I didn't shoot at ends up just getting too scared to take off, possibly rightfully so, depending on who you ask, and he just leaves the game. I dip behind this mountain to dodge the incoming missiles and prepare to go back around, but it's not needed, and I win. Also, once again, the rudder saving my life here, because if I didn't use it to flip myself around, I would have crashed right into the ground right there. So again, get used to using that rudder if you're going to play the MiG-15s. On to the next game. I believe it is once again a 9.0 match, and anytime you see a javelin, you're gonna go for it. I mean, look at it. It's a massive target. It's usually getting slow very fast and easy to hit. Unfortunately, we suffer from a bit of a skill issue and miss a relatively easy shot, but I don't play this game that much anymore, so cut me some slack. And this was recorded back in May. I don't know how that's really relevant, but I figured I'd put that out there. Once again, as I was saying, the javelins get slow very easy. They're big targets, they're pretty easy to hit, so he's just going to do exactly that, as javelins do, and hand you a free kill. What an absolutely miserable plane to fly. There is a B-26 in my match. I'm not sure why exactly. I tag him a little bit and then come back around for the kill. I don't really remember if I get it or not. But in the meantime, we have a C-Vixen here, and it kind of seems like I'm being a little bit of a goofball with this dodge, but he fired his red top from so far away. It's going to be going so slow by the time it gets to me. It really does not take that much work to dodge a red top that's fired at that kind of a range. So that's how I was able to dodge that. It is a 15G missile, yes. It is a little bit annoying to deal with, especially in closer ranges, but yeah, that was just too far of a launch for him to do that. I come back around and try to finish off the B-26 because the only reason I play this game is to get as many kills as possible every match. So am I really helping the team that much? No, not really, but whatever. And I'm also not really helping the team very much by going AFK in the middle of the match. I don't really remember what I was doing, but I'm sure I had a reason at the time because I'm not really one to get up and just leave my gaming session mid-game. That's kind of rude, and I don't usually do that. So I'm sure I had a good reason, but we just kind of AFK in a straight line here for a minute. Maybe there's a pizza burning in the oven, I'm not sure. And War Thunder is such a fast-paced game anymore at basically every level that by the time I get back from my little AFK journey and turn around, the game is practically already over. Not over in the sense that like it's decided who has won the game already, because there is enough players on both teams that it really could go either way right now, but it is over in the sense that there's really not that many people left. It's like a 6 versus 6 or something like that right now, and I don't really feel like I've been around long enough in this match for there to already only be 6 people alive on each team. Thankfully, there's a C-Vixen though that wants to stall himself out right in front of me, which is great news because C-Vixens are absolutely horrible to deal with at this battle rating. It's one of those planes that you can't really move it up in battle rating because it'll suck, but at the same time, the battle rating it sits at, it kind of just griefs its lobbies. It's not super competitive per se to like carry a game, but it's just extremely annoying to deal with for everyone else. This is a battle rating where gunfights and dogfights are still the normal way to get kills, so when you have somebody that has 15G missiles preventing you from actually dogfighting anybody, and sometimes in crucial situations where you actually have to kill this guy in this exact moment, otherwise he's probably going to be on your 6 and get you because he's in a superior plane or whatever the situation may be. Having to worry about that 15G missile and just cancel your fight when you're in your one and only chance for an advantageous position is absolutely awful for gameplay. But this other team pretty much insists on just lining themselves up for me. It seems like we had that C-Vixen, we had the A5, just kind of float on up for us, and now we have a Swift F1 that also had absolutely no idea I was there. And now if I was in a little bit more of an easier plane to fly and an easier plane to line up a shot with, I would have definitely been able to finish him off right there. Unfortunately though, I was just kind of like anticipating where he was going to fly next, and I was picking incorrectly here and there, so I wasn't actually able to get my nose on target because it's not as easy as just pointing the nose in the MiG-15. You kind of got to do it beforehand. But he's on low energy, so it's easy enough for me to just get back around on him, come from behind again, and now there's nobody left but the MD-452 and a SAB 105, who I believe is at the airfield right now. I don't think I kill the MD. Maybe I do here, actually. Let's see. Oh, nope, I missed the shot. Unlucky, but I come back around on him from behind again and pop him as he's trying to fly back to base. Incredible, he flew in a perfectly straight line. Masterclass in defensive flying right there. And then, as always, I tried to provoke the last guy in chat, telling him to, like, come die or something like that. I don't know, something cringy and arrogant, but just know if you ever see me being a goofball and an idiot in game chat, I'm probably trying to provoke you into doing something that I want you to do, and I don't actually mean it, so don't take offense to it, no hard feelings. It's just banter and honestly me trying to give myself an edge that I wouldn't otherwise have. The perfect counter to that, of course, is to simply ignore it and do whatever you want and we're going to do anyways. The Saab 105 stands no chance against the MiG-15, so he gives me a very easy 6-kill game. The first game was definitely much more challenging and a better showcase of the MiG-15. Either way, I hope you guys enjoy it and try it out, and I'll see you later.